Kính thưa toàn thể đồng hương, hôm nay cái ban tổ chức tưởng niệm Mậu Thân Huế năm 1968. Buổi họp mặt ngày hôm nay chúng tôi đặc biệt tiếp một vị khách, mà vị khách này là có mặt trong suốt 20 ngày ở Huế năm 1968 trong việc mà thảm sát Mậu Thân. Bác sĩ là Siemon-Netto. Ông năm nay cũng là rất là lớn tuổi rồi, ông năm nay cũng khoảng 80 tuổi rồi. Và chúng tôi rất hân hạnh tiếp xúc ông để ông tường thực những cái sự chính xác về cái cuộc thảm sát Mậu Thân ở Huế năm 68.
Xin mời anh viết lại.
Dạ, xin mời anh.
I am the chairman of the committee. On behalf of the committee, we are greatly honored to have a special guest today. It's you to come here. You are the witness of the massacre in '68 in Huế. So they really grateful for you to come here today.
Well, I'm very glad you invited me. Thank you very much. This is, by the way I looked in Huế. That was taken in Huế, this picture on the cover. This was taken during the Tet Offensive. So that's exactly 50 years ago. And
by the way, before you talk, I think you need to know who we are. So I want to go around the table and introduce our member. Okay?
Thank you. Very good.
So you know, first one is Mr. Nhân. He's the chairman of the committee for commemoration 50 years of the massacre in Huế. And next one is Mr. Phan. He from the Police Association National, and Mr. Lễ Quang. He the what is your title? Anh title là
cái chủ quyền.
Phong trào yểm trợ tự do tôn giáo.
Okay, a movement for support of religious and human rights in Vietnam. And this is Phát Bui. He's the vice mayor of Saigon City and also the president of the Vietnamese community in Southern California. And
member of anti-communist group.
Okay.
And also I work on the internet.
Yeah, good. This one is Mr. Bùi Nghĩa. What's your title?
Viên ở trong cái này.
The member of this, the memorial of President Mr. King Trần Đạo. And this one is Pha Đẹp Richard Bui. He is the president of tập thể considered the former Vietnamese soldier in Vietnam and Southern California.
And
this is my Bui. She's the very supporter and lovely wife of Bui. And this is Mr. Bằng. He's very famous. He's the former council member of Huế. Okay. And also he is the father of the owner of Vietnamese magazine and TV. Famous over here. I introduce myself already.
No, we met
again. I'm Dr. Hudin Vo. I'm president of Vietnamese American community in USA, and also the president of Vietnamese community in Pune Valley, about 40 miles northwest over here. And I know Mr. Z for a long time. Introduce you. This is Mr. Tông Thức Z. He the family member of victim in Huế, and he also now engineer, right? You engineer over here?
Yes.
Engineer. And his organ very famous.
But they
don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
We have known each other for 10 years.
Là cháu của ông bác sĩ Tôn Thức Niệm, senator và thượng nghị sĩ cũng như là tổng trưởng y tế Việt Nam. Okay, yes.
Let me. I didn't have a chance and didn't have a great honor to meet the member of this committee yet. I read the announcement and I heard there is one man was the chairman of the committee, go and find the grave and dig the grave. So I contact him. So this is the man. The idea was I tried to find out where my family were, the grave, and unfortunately he couldn't pinpoint exactly. He just gave me an area, right? So we already talked about what area, right? And then through him, so he kind of passed the word back to the committees, and then right now today we have they have the honor to invite you to come here to talk. Good.
Okay. And you can talk. And then there's a member of our community. It's from VanHoaNBLV, very famous TV, over here. He would record everything.
Unfortunately, I don't speak Vietnamese. When I was in Vietnam, I communicated mainly in French.
Yes.
So if these gentlemen are more at ease with, given that we are all about the same generation, if they prefer that I speak French, I speak French. Otherwise, I'll just speak English.
Depuis longtemps, je ne parle pas français. J'oublie beaucoup. Okay? So we speak English together.
Non, je parle maintenant des autres messieurs, les pas qui ne parlent pas français.
Depuis longtemps, je ne parle pas pratiquer. So voilà.
Good. Well, so
Yeah,
want to make a,
yeah, please.
So let me put it this way. I was I've been a foreign correspondent for Germany. I've been a journalist for 60 years of my life. I'm also later in life, as a result of what I experienced in Vietnam and elsewhere, I studied theology. So I have a doctorate in Lutheran theology, or I'm doctorate in theology, but I'm Lutheran. I came to Vietnam in January '65, before the main bulk of the Americans went. And I covered, you find all this, of course, in my book, Trials of the Absurd, which is out in Vietnamese as well, and in English, and in German, and in French. When I came to Vietnam, I went first to a part of Vietnam, in the Delta, where actually the anti-guerrilla warfare functioned quite well. The one that was inaugurated by, you might remember, Sir Robert Thompson, who was the British.
Very famous, yeah.
So I knew Sir Robert Thompson, and I always found that he was actually very successful. Do you understand me, or should I break up and anyway? This is now the anniversary of 50th anniversary of Tet. Christmas before Tet, I was in Hong Kong. I called from Hong Kong my American and Vietnamese sources and said, what's it going to be like at Tet 68? Because I had another territory to cover, Laos and Cambodia and Thailand and Korea, etc. And they all said, "Oh, nothing's going to happen." Yeah.
Could we interrupt and maybe?
Yeah. Let me finish this one thought, and then I will. You can then translate. I had nothing. They told me, "No, you'll be fine. There'll be a ceasefire." So now you can. Then comes the next thing. You can translate it.
Translate.
Anh nói quen hơn.
Thì năm 1968, tôi xin đại diện thì nói là tôi là ký giả của vùng Đông Nam Á, thì tôi phải thu tập tin tức những cái nước khác như Lào, Campuchia hay là Việt Nam, Thái Lan. Thì tôi có hỏi cái nguồn như là tin tức của tôi thì có chuyện gì xảy ra ở Tết 68 không? Thì những tin tức đó nói là chắc cũng chả có gì. Just this.
All right. So I actually went to Laos. And I don't know, though some of you might have been to Laos, there was a famous hotel, the Constellation in Vientiane. That was the main place if you wanted to have intelligence information. That's where you got all the spooks sat around the bar, communists, non-communists, Americans, Chinese, you name them. And I knew some of them. And I knew, and opium traders too. And there was one woman who made a lot of money, had become very rich, pushing opium. And they saw me come, they laughed and they said, "What the hell are you doing in Vientiane? Why are you not in Saigon? The solids are going to fly." And I said, "Well, the Americans told me that nothing was going to happen. There was going to be a ceasefire for Tet." They said, "Well, the Americans have lost it. They don't know what's going on. You better get yourself back to, if you want to save your career, go back to Saigon."
Yes.
So,
thì trước Tết năm 68 thì tại vì ở cái nguồn tin riêng của ổng á, từ cái phía Việt Nam là nói là không có chuyện gì xảy ra, tạo có cái cuộc đình chiến. Thành ra ông mới đi qua vạn tượng Vientiane, Lào là vạn tượng, thì ông đến một cái khách sạn rất là nổi tiếng. Thì khách sạn đó là có rất nhiều người ngoại quốc, phía cộng sản cũng có và phía chống cộng cũng có, và Lào lúc đó là trung lập. Thì đó là cái chỗ mà để mà thu lượng tin tức trong hành nghề về phóng viên báo chí. Thì có một người bạn thì sẽ nói ông tại sao ông ở đây, thì ông trả lời là tại vì những người bạn của tôi Hoa Kỳ là nó không có chuyện gì xảy ra ở Việt Nam, thì họ mới nói rằng ông nên trở về lại Sài Gòn, tại vì sẽ có chuyện lớn xảy ra ở Sài Gòn, ông nên về. Yes.
Okay, so I flew back. I got the last plane. I flew down to Bangkok. And the last plane from Bangkok to Tanzania before everything broke loose. That was the last plane in. And of course, as we drove in, I had a suite, kept the suite in the Continental in Saigon.
Hotel.
Beautiful hotel. I loved it. And as I drove in, you had 500,000 people in the street celebrating. 10 firecrackers, of course, was ceasefire, and they had no curfew. And I was tired. I went to bed, and at 3 o'clock I woke up and said, "Could you stop banging away? I mean, it's time for you to go to bed." And I went to the window, and of course there was nobody on the square. Everything, I realized what I was hearing wasn't firecrackers, it was AK-47, a Kalashnikov. And so I dressed up and then walked sideways with my face towards, it was pitch dark, with my face towards the walls, so they didn't see a white face, because they would have seen it, my eyes were reflected. And I found myself opposite the American embassy, and I saw all this, what you know, of course. And I'm not going to talk about Saigon, because what really became dramatic was Hue. For me, I mean, I covered the thing in Saigon, but we're here for Hue. I came back to the hotel, and the German, the deputy ambassador, Germany, Hasso Rüd von Kohlenberg, met me. I met him in the foyer of the Continental, and he said, "Uwe, go to Hue as fast as you can. They have nabbed our doctors and taken them away." Now the doctors, especially I knew Professor Kreinig, who was the founder of the medical faculty, and Elisabeth Kreinig, and the others, Alte Köster and Discher, I knew well, but those two I knew very well. So a few days later, as soon as I could fly to Da Nang, there were no flights to Hue, I flew to Da Nang, and then on an American military convoy went to Fubai. All right, and then from Fubai, I joined the 5th Marines, a battalion of 5th Marines that fought its way up. That is the street without joy. It is up to Hue and then further north, but into Hue. And the road to Hue was covered with bodies, mainly of women and children. Mainly women and children. And you could see from the position the bodies, the women's bodies lay, that they had tried to protect, while dying, protect their children. And they were shot like that. They were not, and there was a stupid left-wing German correspondent there. I said, "Look what the Americans have done." I said, I know what, I spent World War II in Germany. I know what bombing victims look like. These weren't bombing victims.
Not true.
I was being bombed in World War II. I know what it's like. These were shot. One.
Yeah. Thì khi mà ông trở lại Sài Gòn thì ông ở tại khách sạn Continental. Khách sạn đó chắc là quý vị đều biết. Dạ. Thì khoảng 3 giờ sáng, thì lúc đó đêm đó thì dân chúng ăn Tết, ăn mừng Tết, chắc là trước Tết hay Tết. Thì khoảng 3 giờ sáng ông nghe một tiếng nổ rất lớn. Thì ông mới nhớ sực cái này là đây là đạn nổ chứ không phải là pháo nổ nữa. Thì ông mới thức dậy và đi ra về phía tòa đại sứ Mỹ. Nhưng khi ông đi thì cái mặt ông cố nhìn vào trong tường, tại vì ông biết là ông là người da trắng, thành ra người ngoại quốc Thành ra ông cố gắng ông đi, nhưng mà ông cũng không để cho họ biết ông là người của quốc gia trắng. Thì ông tới thì ông thấy cái sự mà đánh nhau cái tòa đại sứ, thì ông biết đó là Việt Cộng tấn công. Rồi ông trở lại khách sạn thì ông gặp ông đại sứ Đức. Thì ông đại sứ Đức nói đó, nếu mà ông biết tin đó, chúng nó là có nghĩa là Việt Cộng đã bắt được mấy giáo sư của chúng ta, người Đức của chúng ta rồi, thì ông nên về ra Huế để mà biết tin tức. Thì ông lập tức đi ra Đà Nẵng, Hội An. Rồi từ Hội An á, ông mới xuống Phú Bài theo của phái đoàn của quân nhân Mỹ. Thì từ Phú Bài ông mới lên xe đi theo quân đội Mỹ trở ra Huế. Thì trên đường đi thì ông thấy rất nhiều xác người chết, và có những xác nhưng bà ông hiểu là bà mẹ chết nhưng mà cũng vẫn ôm đứa con này chết, đó là nạn nhân. Thì có một người ký giả khác thì nói rằng đó thấy là bom Mỹ giết. Thì ông mới nói không, hay đây người chết là không phải là vì bom, chết là vì bắn tại chỗ. Và tôi là sống sót trong cái đệ nhị thế chiến rồi tôi hiểu thế nào bom dội. Đây là vì bắn.
Okay, now comes the dramatic part.
Yes.
This is that unites us. 10 years ago, I wrote a story for the 40th anniversary of Tet in the Orange County Register, and he showed up and contacted me. And then what we discovered was that I might have been maybe 100 or maybe 200 meters from the place where his father and his uncle and his brothers were murdered. And what happened, because we figured this out on the map, okay? The press, everybody, all the refugees, were on the south side of the River of Perfumes in the McVie compound. It's a former hotel. And we slept on the floor, and there was that one, the restaurant floor, in fact. And we were covered in body bags. It's the only way you could keep together. It was very cold, and the only way they kept warm. And all of a sudden we heard firing outside. And next to me was a Vietnamese family, and the father of the family, who spoke wonderful French, said to me, "It's only outgoing fire, it's not incoming, it's Viet Cong, they've assassinated somebody." Because it was, you can hear it was just boom this way, but it didn't come that way, you see. And from the way we discussed it, I think that was the moment when his family were murdered next to, because it was clearly Viet Cong AK-47 firing, and it wasn't an exchange of fire. Okay. So you might explain this quickly, and because then I come to the other more dramatic part.
Thì ông nói là 10 năm về trước thì tôi và ông là tình cờ để đến với nhau, tại vì ông có viết một cái bài về Mậu Thân đăng trên báo. Thì tôi đọc được bài báo rồi tôi mới đi kiếm được, thì chúng tôi bắt đầu quen biết với nhau. Thì ông nói là một cái sự thật buồn là thế này, gia đình của chúng tôi lúc đó là ở Huế, và xin nói rõ hơn là ở Vi Dạ. Thì ông đóng là cái đồn là của Mỹ gọi là McVie đó, thì chỉ cách có lẽ chỉ cách cái nhà của gia đình của chúng tôi khoảng chừng 100-200 thước. Thì ban đêm thì rất là lạnh, thì nằm ở trong đó thì ông nghe những súng bắn, nhưng mà ông biết là không phải là ở ngoài đó bắn vào trong quân đội Mỹ, và đó súng của tiểu liên AK-47 của Việt Cộng bắn ra. Như vậy chứng tỏ là có thể là họ đã giết dân lành, từ lúc đó không còn quân đội mình là chống cự nữa, họ đã chiếm rồi. Thì có lẽ đó là cái sự thảm sát của gia đình của chúng tôi.
So now I walked the next morning. I wanted to find out what happened to the German professor. So I walked in the direction of the City Universitaire. That's where the housing, the professor's housing of the University of Huế. So here is the hotel. I walked along Leloy Boulevard, and here's the river. And this side was already free. The Americans and South Vietnamese had already liberated that. The other side was still communist, and you could still see the Viet Cong flag on top of the citadel. And I went into the apartment of Professor Kreinig, where I spent the night. Previously, in the previous visits, I always stayed with him. Because they were gone. Had been 6 weeks later, we know that they were murdered in a mass grave. And while I was in there, so there was an American platoon of Marines in there. And while I was in there, the platoon leader, lieutenant, was shot through the window by a Viet Cong sniper and dead. Then I walked out and I went over to the university, to the medical school, and the hospital, university hospital. And there was an elderly guy with a beard. He pulled me aside like this and said, "You speak French here?" And he told me how he had survived the massacre there. He had witnessed the Viet Cong coming in with lists on, with names on it, including the lists, obviously, of the German, the names of the Germans. And then, you know, they were taken to tribunals and then they were shot afterwards. He survived by claiming that he was crazy. So he went into the psychiatric ward and behaved like a lunatic. And so this is how he survived, as a lunatic. But he was actually a professor. And had the Viet Cong known that he spoke French and he was a professor there, they would have killed him. So he did this, you know, and behaved like a lunatic, and this is how they survived. And he said all the patients there, mental patients, they all went absolutely crazy, wild, because they were so confused by what was going on. Do you want to translate that, or shall I go on?
Yeah, I can translate it. And,
Okay, Professor, I really touched because I wasn't here that time, so but I wanted to listen to you. But today I had a dinner reception with the Prime Minister of Canada, so I had to go to see him. But what you tell, it's touched my heart. I almost cried because I was in Yahoo at that time. You know, Yahoo is a big fighting. So what you bring back, in my brother-in-law, he the vice mayor of Huế was killed the first day. So it tear in my eyes now. But I want to listen to everything else. But now I have to go because I have a meeting in.
Can I just give you the last thing before you go? Okay, because that's the most important thing.
Yes, yes.
I skip everything else. Peter Braystrup, who was the bureau chief of the Washington Post, saw me and grabbed me and said, "Come, they found a mass grave." So it was in a sort of slightly west of Huế, a mass grave. We drove there in an American truck. This was a couple of days later. And the grave was filled with the bodies of old men, women, and children. It was found because some of the women must have been buried alive because they tried to claw their way out. They found the manicured fingers. And there was, and this is very important now, the American team, a television team, walked around. And Peter Braystrup asked them, "Why don't you film this?" And that idiot cameraman says, "We are not here to spread anti-communist propaganda." So that is why. So I hope you.
And then you talk about the leftist Germany reporters say, "Oh, that's from the bombing."
But I made sure that he lost
you
his job.
counteract already. So thank you very much. I'm very upset about that, and then she's not the guy too. But anyway, I love to hear your story. I wish I have you for a car here. I contact you, and I wish you read the book. But
it is in Vietnamese. So you can find it on.
I will contact this. He look my relative too. So I will talk to you later. But I had to go because it's 2 hours I have to drive to see the guy. Okay.
Okay.
And thank you for your gratitude.
Xin lỗi quý vị.
Đi không phải. Rồi mình tiếp tục.
Dạ, tôi xin dịch tiếp tục một chút. Thì sau một vài ngày sau thì ông đi tới cái tư gia của mấy vị giáo sư Đức đó, là bạn của ông. Thì trước đó thì ông đã tới đó nhiều lần và ông có ngủ tại đó, tại là người Đức bạn với nhau, thì ông có ngủ tại đó rồi. Rồi khi mà kỳ này ông tới lại thì ông đi với những quân đội lính của Hoa Kỳ đến để đi kiếm những giáo sư Đức đó, thì thấy là họ biến mất rồi thì ông biết chắc là đã bị bắt. Thì rất tiếc là khi mà tới đó thì có một ông người sĩ quan Hoa Kỳ, chắc trung úy hay là trung sĩ gì đó, thì ông đứng ngay cửa sổ, ông bị bắn chết ngay trước mặt, bị bắn xẻ. Việt Cộng trở lại bắn xẻ thì nó bắn chết ngay cái bữa mà ông đi tới cái nhà đó. Thì ông có gặp một người khác cũng lớn tuổi rồi, thì ông đó hỏi ông có nói được tiếng Anh, tiếng Tây không, tiếng Pháp không, thì ông này nói được. Thì ông đó nói chuyện mới kể lại tôi là nhân chứng còn sống được, và tôi biết được tại sao họ bắt là tại vì tôi thấy cái danh sách, và trong cái danh sách đó đương nhiên là có cái vị giáo sư người Đức, thì tôi là nhân chứng. Mà tại sao tôi sống sót được là vì tôi giả điên, tôi làm như là một người điên khùng. Thì nhờ vậy mà Việt Cộng nó tưởng tôi là điên thì nó thả, nó không có bắt tôi. Chứ thật ra là tôi một người trí thức, là ông ngu nghĩ là có thể đó là một giáo sư đại học, nhưng ông giả điên. Thì đại khái như vậy. Thì cái chuyện mà trước khi mà bác sĩ Hữu đi á, thì ông có nói một câu cái này là tôi muốn nói cho bác sĩ biết cái chuyện này rất là quan trọng. Là mấy ngày sau hay một tuần lễ sau á, thì ông đi đào, ông đi theo cái phái đoàn mà đào những ngôi mộ tập thể, thì ông có thấy tay của những người phụ nữ còn bóng tay á, cào dưới đất đi lên thì lòi. Thì như vậy chứng tỏ là họ đã bị chôn sống và cố gắng đi lên để mà thở. Đó là một cái vấn đề. Và thứ nhì nữa, trong đó có những người ký giả Mỹ khác. Thì ông có một người bạn ký giả người Mỹ thì hỏi những ký giả khác tại sao quý vị không chụp hình và quay phim những cái cảnh mà đi đào xác lên. Thì những người ký giả khác thân tả thì họ nói rằng chúng tôi đến đây không phải để đi tuyên truyền cho cái ủng hộ cho cái phe Mỹ, tuyên truyền cho quân đội Mỹ. Nên họ từ chối không có chụp và quay những cái cảnh mà mình đi đào xác. Please.
Yeah, well, that was actually the most important thing, is because I still have the stench of those bodies in my nose now that I'm an old man. I'm 81.
Yes.
In between, this is how dramatic it was also for the Americans. I mean, I joined in between before I found the mass grave, or was there at the mass grave. In between, I joined an American platoon that crossed over to the other side of the river platoon of fumes, and we were involved in house-to-house fighting. And I was with a big, tall, black American corporal, and there were snipers firing at us, and he lobbed a hand grenade into a house. And the door flew open, and out came this woman with a dead baby in her hand. And this guy went absolutely berserk. He ran around and said, my God, I gotta kill the baby. When Viet Cong obviously had used those women and children as shields for themselves. And he was out of commission. And then I realized when I looked around, there were 53 members of the platoon, it was a very large platoon. When we set across, by the time I looked around, there were 10 left. The others all killed or wounded. So that was that. And I found, but we did find, and that's what I want you to know as Vietnamese exiles here. Lots of Americans and Vietnamese blame the media for what has happened, and to an extent this was true. However, those journalists who were actually in combat reported correctly and reported that the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese had lost the Tet Offensive. They lost it. Entire infrastructure gone. But then were other journalists, and they came flying over, these were the media stars, like Walter Cronkite, who then said, well, this war cannot be won. And that was, and unfortunately people listened to the Walter Cronkites and not to the war reporters who were actually risked their lives being in combat themselves. You see?
Yes. Thì ông nói cũng chắc khoảng 5-7 ngày 10 ngày sau thì ông theo một cái trung đội Mỹ khoảng chừng 50 binh sĩ thì đi băng qua cái sông Hương vào đánh trong phía bên kia, bắt đầu vào nội thành. Thì cái chiến trận đó là xảy ra đánh từ nhà qua nhà, chiếm từng nhà. Thì ông kể lại có một sĩ quan Mỹ, chắc là thượng sĩ hay gì đó, thì vì đang đánh nhau thì ông có thảy một trâu lựu đạn, ông nghe một tiếng động gì đó, ông có thảy trâu lựu đạn. Thì sau cái tiếng nổ trái lựu đạn đó thì thấy một bà Việt Nam và ôm một đứa trẻ nhỏ bị chết. Thì ông lính Hoa Kỳ đó thì ông rất là buồn bã, gần như nổi cơn điên lên. Thì ông nói: trời ơi, tôi đã làm gì, tại sao mà tôi đã vô tình tôi giết hại đứa trẻ con. Rồi gần như là ông không còn ý óc nữa. Thì cái kết quả đó là một trung đội khoảng 50 mấy người chỉ còn how many people still survive? About 10 people in that.
The platoon well survived. 10 were still fighting.
Yeah.
The others were either dead or wounded.
Yeah. Thì chỉ còn có 10 người nữa thì còn đủ sức để mà tiếp tục chiến đấu. Những người khác trong cái trung đội là hoặc là đã chết hoặc đã bị thương. Và ông nói là có những ký giả đi theo những cái đoàn quân đi đánh giải phóng Huế đó, thì họ trình bày lại rất là trung thật cái sự tấn công của Việt Cộng và quân đội Mỹ đã đẩy lui lại, hay quân đội chúng ta đẩy lui lại. Thì rất tiếc là chỉ có những cái giả mà kiểu như là quan trọng mà cao cấp đó, thì như là Walter Cronkite, là ông là CBS News, ông toàn nước Mỹ, thì ông bay vào Việt Nam á, thì ông chỉ tới ông coi một chút rồi bay về. Thì đó là những người ký giả trở về đã không có trình bày trung thực về cái chiến tranh ở Việt Nam. Nhưng mà tiếc là họ như ở vị trí cao, họ có tên tuổi, thành ra đồng bào ngoại quốc, đồng bào công dân Mỹ họ lại tin những ký giả đó. Thì thành ra những cái tin tức về mà trận đánh về Huế đó nó không trung thực. Thật ra những ký giả mà đi đánh tại chiến trường bị đạn súng nổ nhọn thì trình bày rất là trung thực về cái trận Mậu Thân đánh những tại Huế.
Yeah, that is. Do you have any questions? I have one question. I mean, I have lots more to tell, and much more to find in my books. But do you have any questions?
Yeah, thì ông nói là bây giờ thì ông để dành thời gian cho quý vị nào muốn hỏi thì hỏi. Thì về những chi tiết đó thì là ông đã trình bày trong những cuốn sách này. Và theo tôi biết đó, ông viết tại vì ông viết là mới đây thôi, thì ông viết một bản bằng tiếng Anh. You have an English version, you have a Vietnamese, một bản dịch tiếng Việt Nam, yeah, a Vietnamese version. Ông có viết một bản về người tiếng Đức nữa. Và mới đây là ông có ra một bản bằng tiếng Pháp, yeah, French version. Như cuốn sách này là có 4 thứ tiếng. Thì quý vị muốn tìm hiểu hơn nữa về trận đánh Mậu Thân, thay vì nói mất thì giờ, thì ông đề nghị là nên đọc cuốn sách để mà biết sự thật. Thì đây là ông sẵn sàng trả lời những câu hỏi này, những quý vị nào có.
I have a quick question. Did any Vietnamese communists interview you about the Tet in 1968?
Well, no. I was the only encounter I had with the communists. Of course, in South Vietnam, you couldn't have any contacts with the communists unless you had secret meetings with the Viet Cong, which happened to me once, but that was not about Tet. I was in a ballroom in Saigon where you could arrange for meetings with Viet Cong representatives if you were a journalist, but normally we didn't. I was interviewed. I did meet with communists when I covered the 1968 and 69 peace talks in Paris. When Nguyen Cao Ky was there, the representative of South Vietnam. I, in fact, flew back from Paris to Saigon with him and his wife, Thuy Mai. And in Paris, I ran into a guy who called himself a correspondent well, I've forgotten now what the Viet Cong news service was. I forgot what that. He was for the Viet Cong wire service. And he was in Hue on the communist side. And we talked, and I challenged him. I said, he said this. What I said this in a meeting with other journalists, and I said, you know, I saw this. How do you justify killing these civilians? And hand on, they were all communists, they were reactionary. I said so, and the German doctors who came over, 3 of them and the wife of one of them, they were all reactionaries. They came over because they wanted to fight the war. No, they came to make you well, to sew up your wounds, whether you were communist or not. Well, and the guy was they were so borné, as the French say, so stubborn. They would not respond. They said, well, it wasn't true. To this day, the Vietnamese communists have not admitted to the killing of these Germans, for example, and the killing of all those civilians, all these women and children. They weren't even soldiers. They weren't in uniform. All these old men with their white beards. I mean, they were nothing. They were because of their class and because they belonged to a group that a level of society that wasn't expected to be favorably seen by the communists, favorably used of the communists. But the communists, I was recently, a couple of 3 years ago, when I introduced this book at the German book fair in Leipzig, and I gave lectures at the book fair about Vietnam, and I know that the Hanoi Secret Service were filming me, and so that of course encouraged me to say more than I actually intended to, you know.
Service in terms of the Viet Cong Secret Service, or
Sorry?
The Viet Cong Secret Service, or
The North Vietnamese.
North Vietnamese.
Well, and then by that time, it was 3 years ago, they were united, but it was the communists, not the Germans, no. Germans, Leipzig, Germany's reunified Leipzig, which was East Germany, my hometown, but I was a refugee from East Germany. I came to West Germany in 1947. So it was the Vietnamese, you could say, filmed me, and then I said, well, come over, why don't you engage me in conversation? And they wouldn't come, you know, but they took notes and filmed. So that was...
Yeah. Two questions, if I may.
Sure.
But before I ask the question, I would like to thank you for speaking out and speaking the truth.
Yeah.
It's always a very benevolent act to to have the courage to speak the truth, especially when the truth sometimes is a minority voice.
No, sure.
So we deeply appreciate it. On behalf of my community, I would like to thank you.
Thank you.
What happened in Hue, we know a lot, but it's always touching us to hear some direct eyewitness, direct witness. But a couple of questions that I'm always curious. I do not believe, or many of us do not believe, that the U.S. intelligence does not know about what's coming out before it happened. So for a long time, we suspect the CIA would have known about this attack,
But they weren't
but they
listening
do
to
not.
the CIA.
But they do not alert us about it.
That is...
So.
Yeah.